Or is he like the dramatic Miss Braganza from Kuch Kuch Hota Hai? Who is Karan Johar as the principal of a movie? आप बताएं, what do you think?
Is he Prerna Pratishtha Ramashasam?
Or is he Miss Braganza? Aha!
Wow, well done, brother. Good to see you. Listen, you want to see the energy in the hall. Everybody, Alia, please give it up louder.
I think Karan is no school principal. Karan is a student of
Radar 6, Battle Royale, action game. How much you really love action in real life, Sid?
Nobody else, but
Firstly, what's up, guys?
My question to you is,
Really excited to be amongst all these gamers and to launch this fabulous fun game action. Bro, बचपन में जब भी मैं कोई गिफ्ट मांगता था अपने फादर से, पिताजी से, जब भी वो बाहर घूमते थे, तो एक टॉय गन जरूर मांगता था. I was obsessed बचपन में टॉय गन लेकर प्ले एक्टिंग करना, trying to be an army man. And इत्तेफाक से आज बड़े होके भी आज वही कर रहे हैं, खेलने का मौका मिलता है. So a big action fan and I'm super happy and excited to be here at this launch.
अभी ये तो तुम बचपन में गिफ्ट्स मांगते थे in terms of.
That I've had the good fortune of knowing and collaborating with.
How lovely. Huge round of applause for Karan Johar. Now I have many a story about the same thing where he's essentially a person who is approachable, and when you meet him at that juncture, of course when you see him, you know it's Karan Johar, but if he were just to simply talk to you, you would say that, you know, this is another person who believes in young India and therefore is able to make movies that young India loves. You know, so thank you, Karan, for doing what you do. But let me come to this. Many say that cinema is a reflection of society, but I personally think that society is also a reflection of cinema. And it influences young impressionable minds. Today, with the advent of OTT, it is allowed for creative freedom, but many people feel that it's redefining the cultural fabric of our country. What are your thoughts about this? And put Rocky and Rani in context, your new film in context of this.
What a loaded question to begin with. And it's critical to answer this from the most honest space possible. So firstly, I do believe that cinema is a reflection of society and vice versa, because it also draws from, literally sometimes they say that exaggeration in Indian cinema, but a lot of those situations depicted on celluloid are actually very close to reality. And as a filmmaker, I've only drawn from human observation, from observation of the community that surrounds me, the society we live in, the people I interact with. It's very critical that you understand the syntax of your surroundings, and then as a writer, as a filmmaker, you tell that story. Of course, some of us who've grown up in urban India have a certain understanding of those dynamics and relationships, and there are some others who are privileged enough to actually be exposed to the rest of India, can tell those stories with equal abandon. I do believe that the content today is definitely broadening the human spectrum where it comes to, I think, relationships and pushing the envelope and not sugarcoating it and not doing puff pieces of love and romance. We are showing the grey areas, and you have to know, as students, you have to know that life is way beyond black and white. We walk the path of grey every day, and that's not a bad thing, because you're actually, grey is a representation of your vulnerable side, of your true side. And I think whether it's OTT platforms, streaming services, or new age cinema, all of that actually exposes the vulnerabilities of human beings.
As well, like My Name is Khan.
Yes, that happened all later. That happened later, but I was like, I remember Shabana.
And then Student of the Year, like the deepest one.
The deepest film, yes. Absolutely spoke about. Student of the Year was my deepest cinematic piece of work. And I'll tell you why. I know we're saying this in humor, but it was deep of me to understand the genius of Alia even then. I think my deepest contribution to Indian cinema has been the prolific Alia Bhatt. I mean, when I saw Gangubai, I was like, huh? I was like, how is she doing this? Who is this person? Who is this person? Who is this actor? When did she grow up? Like because I've seen her like my own child. My parental instinct came when I got to know her. And I'm like, my daughter is like playing this incredible part with such abandon, and I was like, this is not thanks to me. This is something she's done on her own. I haven't taught her any of that. She actually went on her highway all on her own. And I think now, as directing her this time, and directing both of them, and I think I've taken over from where Rishabh started and started monitoring this session. But I have to say this, that I worked with both these actors, and I couldn't annul the fact that I directed Alia before because she was another actor. I didn't know her as the way she is today. I don't know that Alia Bhatt. I know this Alia Bhatt. I know this Ranveer Singh. And I had one chameleon as an actor. Ranveer is nothing short of a chameleon. He gets into the skin of the character in a way where you forget he's Ranveer Singh and start looking and believing that he's Rocky Randhawa. When you see the film, you will forget he is Ranveer Singh. Just the way you forgot he was Ranveer Singh in '83, or Jayesh Bhai Jodhar, or Baji Ramastani, or Alauddin Khilji. One of my closest friends saw the film and said, I want to be Rocky's friend. And that is what the feeling I hope that all of you get, that you hope that you have a Rocky in your group of friends. Both of these actors were feeding off each other's brilliance in a way that only a director can hope and imagine for. I was just sitting awestruck behind the monitor and hoping that, the shot doesn't end, the take doesn't get over, because they just are something totally special. You saw a beat of that, or rather much more a beat of their initial chemistry in Gully Boy. And there were 8 scenes they had together, and every time they came on, I was like, these are my favorite parts of Gully Boy. And when I met them, and I was like, just give me a dose of that chemistry and take over as Rocky and Rani, and we'll have our Prem Kahani.
All right, fantastic. And Karan should have moderated the session, I think. That would have been that would have been beautiful. But the way you've covered the entire thing, and I want to just build on from that, because you beautifully brought out a few things which lead into my next question, which is, I've always felt, I did a little bit of theatre, could never reach where you all have reached, but I did a little bit of theatre, and I always felt that when you do theatre, when you act, it's like studying subjects, right? Like you are studying maths and history. There is no commonality between maths and history, but at the same point in time, there may be some parts of maths and some parts of history that may come together. Now, don't ask me how. Perhaps we can ask them how. But I want to ask you this. Is there a way that when you perform a particular role, like say for example, when you acted, like he rightly said, as Kabir Mehra, or when you perform Gangubai, do you bring on those to your new characters which are Rocky and Rani? Or is that a completely different subject, like how technically maths and history are completely different subjects? So is that the case? Or is there some thing that goes on from one character into the other?
Well, I think it's more like an exam. The beats are more or less the same. You prepare for it, you study for it. This is my process personally. You do your homework, and then you learn everything, and hope that you absorb all of it, because when the time comes, it should be retained in your system. When the exam date, which is the shoot date for us, comes up, you kind of revise everything that you've studied, and then it's like show time is like game time for an athlete or exam time for a student. So the beats are very similar in that sense.
I also feel like it depends on how you choose your characters and how you place your films. Because if you're doing, say, love story, then there's bound to be some trickle effect of those characters into each other. But if you do a love story, then you do a drama, then you do a comedy, then you do a thriller, you try and find people who are very different from each other so that they don't overlap into each other. So you get these words like chameleon, you get to say that, oh, she's or he's so versatile. At the end of the day, you want to be slipping into What are you doing?
Just distracting.
Okay.
Trying to focus on your answer. There is a lot to learn from you as an actor.
But now I forgot what I was saying. Basically, you understood ना कि एक अलग होना
What
चाहिए.
is your, how are you in maths?
How was I in maths? See, they are already laughing because they are like, ये तो मतलब
It's rather presumptuous of you guys.
No, actually, honestly, guys, I was not bad till
Oh.
a certain grade.
Okay.
Then I decided that I'm not dissing maths. Maths is great because, but if you need it in a profession, then you should focus. Then I decided, but ये तो चाहिए ही नहीं. तो मैं क्यों इतना focus करूँ? Why am I working so hard? There was a competitive spirit within me which needed to kind of do it. But I didn't drop maths. I had the option of dropping it. I didn't drop it. I took
This is good.
Maths is rubbish. You don't need it in life. Yeah, baby.
Maybe some students working hard at maths and you just told that they don't need it in life. Poor thing, they're going to feel so sad and confused.
Trigonometry, algorithm, chalna, yaar, chalna.
All of you don't like maths? Make some noise.
You know actually where maths helps you. It's not the numbers and the calculation and the formula that you need to be quick with forming. It helps you in your day-to-day life to be able to think on your feet and to be able to make most with what you have and make 2 का 2 4 का 4 उसमें मिल करके A into B into C into R whatever. You know. But the point is it should prepare you for life. And I feel there should be a whole separate subject which is dealing with life.
Oh, costa, theta, ये वो आज तक मैंने यूज नहीं किया.
See, they're doing it. They're doing it. I'm
I'm
not
not
doing it.
dissing maths. I'm just letting you know.
Oh, the math god will be so upset.
They may.
But Ranveer was
Option, मेरे जमाने में ऑप्शन क्यों नहीं था यार ड्रॉप करने का? आजकल के बच्चे लोग को.
Ranveer, is there a subject that you didn't like? आपको पसंद नहीं था?
Which one do you think, sir? Which one do you think?
Which one do you guys think that you didn't like?
Mathematics. Yeah. मतलब मैं तो 5वीं में 5 बार फेल.
I didn't like science. I used to cry in my exam.
But there are 3 prongs in science. There's chemistry, biology, and physics.
Bio I loved.
हाँ.
Chem we have. Physics मेरे को कुछ समझ नहीं आया. मैं क्या बोल रही हूँ मुझे समझ नहीं आया.
Mind that doesn't appreciate, understand math and stuff, invariably you're not going to like physics. It's the same.
I just didn't understand physics.
No, I was like.
But when I look at my daughter, I say, "तू तो scientist बनेगी," because I couldn't be a scientist.
But no, this by far was a part of the discussion which all of them related to. I think majority of them related to, even I related to, saying mathematics was not the strongest suit. But Karan, before I move on to the next one, I must ask you and bring you in as well. If you had to say that there was one subject that was your least favorite subject, which one would it be?
Karan is a topper.
So all subjects are.
Yeah, 90 plus student, ladies and gentlemen. Karan Johar is a 90 plus student.
Yes. So that happened much later on in college, where I actually topped the state in my BCom.
Wow.
And my principal, Mrs. Indushani, called me in and said that the Bajaj, kind of Institute of Management is offering you a seat to do, your further studies after my BCom. And I said, no, but I want to make movies. And she looked at me and she said, then why did you study so hard? So I was like, oh, that was the reputation then of like people entering the movies. But to go back to my ICS examination, I had the strangest report card. In fact, the board wrote to my school and said that, can this child ask for a recount? Because I had 90, 92, 90, 90, 90, 45.
45.
And no prize.
You didn't
क्या
see
बात
that?
है मेरे शेर. 0 and 100. Okay.
Look at the one who did not appear as the principal of the school now. Such a success story.
देखें, अगर आप फेल हो गए तो कोई बात नहीं. आगे जाके आप करण जौहर भी बन सकते हैं. आप स्कूल के प्रिंसिपल भी बन सकते हैं. क्या बात है सर आपकी. यू हैव फाउंड द फाउंटेन ऑफ यूथ. आपको देख के लगता नहीं है किसी एंगल से आप प्रिंसिपल हैं. वो बकायदा कॉलेज गोइंग बॉय लग रहे हैं. Anyway, back to the game. और कोई है 0 on 100 से कोई लोअर लाया है? मैं लाया हूँ. 0 on 100 minus 10 for talking. So minus 10 on 100.
You were talking while achieving the grand zero.
I was trying. हाथ पैर मार रहे थे सर एग्जाम हॉल में कुछ तो हो जाएगा.
Oh God. You know, but this is the thing that we love about this guy. That and the way he's projected and portrayed it, and it's actually true. Irrespective of the one thing, I think one summary that we took is they're great in their academics also. But even if you are bad at something in life, eventually you're going to come out on top as long as you have the right role models and as long as you have a principle that looks that.
But you know what the learning is? Truly, there is a deep learning here. Is that life doesn't stop there. It's not the be-all and end-all. If you fail, take a leaf out of Karan Johar's book. Make that 4581. Tomorrow is another day.
And you know,
Wake up, put your mind to it, work hard. Most certainly, compassion and empathy. Before you write a person off, should always try and give them a chance. Big learning from this guy.
Very well said.
What I learned from Rani, I'm trying to think.
the thing with Alia is, I don't think, and you can answer this after I said, I think that she didn't learn as much as she actually gave to the character, because I think Alia in many ways is Rani.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. The way Rani is written and the things she stands for and the values that she has and the perspective that she has, I agree with 99% of the things that she believes and feels. But there's a slight difference between Rani and me is, एक चीज होती है कि, and this is not with regards to if you have to stand up for yourself, you have to stand up for yourself and to hell with the world, sorry, pardon my language, but to hell, because you have to stand up for yourself. But there's a certain level at which this over opinions now, constantly giving, is not required in a situation where if you can make the matter better, then say something. Otherwise, sometimes it's better to just stay quiet and let the situation handle itself out. So, not like Rani at all is a negative person, but sometimes you may think that I'm just putting my opinion out there, but you're adding a lot of opinion out there, and try and make things better as opposed to just think of where you're coming from.
And actually, in a way, I have to say that that's what Alia brought to the character, and it's entirely, I give her full credit for it. On paper, Rani was heavily opinionated and at parts could have been, if I may say so, not likable because she was so strong in her opinion. Rani was given sensitivity and understanding by Alia's sheer genius. She understood that she had to do it in a way where she was completely likable. Because Rocky was written as likable, right? And she is a totally different character, but she brought the likability to her character and made it, in a sense, worthy of emulation.
And in today's day and age, one of the we just love what all of you say, but one of the things that Alia you said so beautifully is the fact that in today's day and age, it's always about giving an opinion even if you don't have an opinion. Because in today's age of social media, and sometimes that can become toxic, everybody has an opinion about everything. And I think it's so important to perhaps take away from that answer that it's okay not to have an opinion, and it's okay not to have an opinion on a particular subject area and say no comments.
No, the thing is, if you're helping the situation, if you're standing up for something, if you're believing in something, if you need to make your ground heard, go for it. But if you're just adding to noise and just giving an opinion just for the heck of it and not knowing the head or the tail or the middle or the back or the center, why? Why do it? Just read a book.
Read a book.
You know?
But I've always believed a conversation with knowledgeable people is better than reading 100 books. So we've got 3 people, so we've got 300 books in front of us. But let me, before it becomes too serious, we've got the 3 of you together. So, you know, they've given me cues saying, Rishabh, they want to ask many questions, so keep yours to the minimum. So I will keep mine to the minimum. But if this was never have I ever, have you guys seen that? You need to either have or have not, right? And we need to do this quickly, and we let them then decide who actually won the game. So never have I ever fallen asleep in class. Never have I ever copied someone's homework. Never have I ever had a crush on a teacher. Never have I ever laughed.
It was first grade. Miss Melrose McGill from Learners Academy, Bandra. If you're watching this, you still have a very special place in my heart.
How lovely. But never have I ever laughed while shooting a serious scene. Never have I ever bunked classes. You haven't? Wow.
I never bunked school. I love school. Never bunked a single day, never bunked a single class. Maybe not so much in HR college, but by FYJC mein bigad gaya.
I also didn't bunk school. I thought we were talking about general full education.
I didn't go to college, so school.
I bunked in college to see many movies.
You didn't need to go to college. But never have I ever been called to the principal's office.
Mine was for a good reason.
Yours, was it actually to collect a trophy on behalf of everybody or be the best student or something of the sort?
It was actually to be last minute. The boy who was meant to go for inter-school English got typhoid, and they told me, they said, can you run now and can you recite a poem? Because I was called to the principal's office and said, go now, in half an hour you have to go to this school to do the preliminary round.
And Karan Johar went and he won. He won.
I tell you a side and a strange story, because in the preliminary round, the person competing with me right next to me was Aditya Chopra, and he was from Bombay, Scottish, and I was from Green Lawns, and both of us. Well done, Bombay, Scottish. Clearly, that's not Green Lawns. Oh, it's Green Lawns? Oh, wow, love you. Okay, so what happened is that he couldn't make it to the finals because he had his prelims, and he keeps telling me that had he been there, he would have won. So we once decided to have a competition in Goa and make Shah Rukh judge it, but it never happened because I think he got cold feet.
And the last one for this game is, never have I ever regretted a hairstyle or an outfit after a public appearance. Ranveer is a clear winner in this. You have? You've regretted wearing an outfit? Now this is a story that I'm sure everyone is interested in knowing.
There was one formal suit that was pretty ghastly, and it was on a discussion, and Mr. Bachchan was present as well. And I was very excited. I thought I was wearing the best suit in the world. So I was like, sir, how do I look? He was like, son, you're looking like a plant.
Oh goodness. No, so before we declare the winners, there's a who's more likely, which is the part 2 of this. So we'll run this quickly. Who's more likely to plan a surprise romantic date between the three of you? Who's most likely to fight the world for love?
The world for love.
Who's more likely to create a public scene while fighting? And between Rocky and Rani, who is more likely to apologize first after an argument? The final question, because we are going back to school, who is more likely to have been the teacher's pet? So now,
Karan. Sorry, I take it. Sorry, Karan, I give it to you.
Karan should he's aced everything, so. But you were.
Complete front row, annoying to other students, teachers' pet.